Welcome back to Politics Watch. This is Sir P. Now, today I'm going to talk about the whole Keith Clark thing. As you know, or as you may know, the courts have just ruled that Peter Bunting's decision as the former Minister of National Security to give immunity to 3 members of the JDF, Corporal Odell Buckley, Lance Corporal Greg Tingling, and Private Arnold Henry, was basically unjust, and the said members of the JDF will now have to go on trial, right? So Peter Bunting's immunity certificates that he gave to them, right, has now been struck down. They are now invalid, and the case is going to trial. Now, people, if it's one video you need to listen from start to finish, it's going to be this one. People, this case is monumental. It's monumental not just for Keith Clark, his family, the 3 JDF members, but over here on this channel, this movement, we always talk about 116s. This case is bigger, much bigger than people are giving it credit for. People are looking at this case as some kind of mishap, some kind of misunderstanding. People, you need to understand how serious this case is, right? I spent a lot of time speaking to people who are in the know in this case. And when I say in the know, I know people, I'm talking people who are directly involved in one way, shape or form, without going into too much details or calling any name, right? Now, people, I'm going to give you some background on this case, right? Now, I guess you could say everything started on May 23rd, 2010, and it ended about May 27, 2010. And in my opinion, that stretch I just described is the most disastrous and PR damaging time period in the history of the Jamaica Defence Force. Right? You can call upon a couple other incidents. For example, the infamous Green Bay massacre that took place back in the 70s while Michael Manley was Prime Minister. You can talk about various other cases, but for me, in my opinion, this time period here is the most disastrous for the JDF. Now, people, here are some dates for you. May 27 or May 23rd, the beginning of the Tivoli incursion. May 27, 2010, this by the way, Keith Clark, right, end up losing life. July the 30th, 2012, the soldiers are charged officially for taking out Keith Clark, right. Since that time period, there were a number of hiccups regarding why the trial couldn't go ahead. For example, there was a chicken gun breakout with one of the lawyer them. Then they were saying, oh, you have to wait until the West Kingston Commission of Inquiry end. That was in 2015. But then, surprisingly, stunningly, February 22nd, 2016, the then National Security Minister, Peter Bunting, signed and issued immunity certificates to the aforementioned JDF members, Odell Buckley, Greg Tingling, and Arnold Henry. This move was extraordinary. This move was extraordinary and in some ways unprecedented. I can't think of another case where a national security minister directly intervened into a case, right, and gave immunity certificates. If you can think of any others, right, at least in recent memory, please share it in the comment section. Now, further on in the video, I'm going to tell you why that move, why in my opinion that move happened. Now, let me continue with the dates. Right now, as I said, February 22nd, 2016, Bunting issued the certificates. Right, the Constitutional Court decided on February 18, 2020, that those certificates are null and void. Now, let me go into the meat of this video. Who was Keith Clark? Keith Clark was an accountant, big accountant, right? But here's the thing, people. You see, from the moment this thing went down, I was telling people, this case now go so. This case now go so, right? Not because Jamaica is known for delivering justice, but because of who the victim was. People, Keith Clark, as I said, was a big-time accountant, highly rated in his field. His brother was a politician, and no ordinary politician, a cabinet minister by the name of Claude Clark. Claude Clark, right? And not only that, Keith Clark's best brethren, top brethren, right, is none other than Justice Lennox Campbell, right? Those are the kind of people who Keith Clark rubbed shoulders with. His wife has a PhD. She's also very highly rated in her field. So this was no little man at the streets who get lit down and can get swept under the carpet. Keith Clark had friends in very high places. People. Keith Clark was also a diehard PNP supporter. Now you may be wondering, Sir P, what does that have to do with nothing? Don't worry yourself. Further on in the video, when I start to give you my theory that I've pieced together from speaking to people, you're going to see why the fact that he was a loyal and diehard PNP supporter is worthy of being mentioned in this video, so it can start to make sense down the road. Now people, let's go back to the incident when the man them actually take out Keith Clark. Now, you have to understand, earlier on, as I said, on May 23rd, the Tivoli incursion had happened. The Tivoli incursion was egg on the face of the Jamaican government. It was extremely embarrassing because after going into Tivoli for Dodos, right, after over 70 people officially lose their life, Tivoli people will tell you that the number is actually much higher, but officially the number was over 70 people lose their life. They did not have Christopher Coke in their man. They did not have anything to show the Jamaican people that, listen, this is the reason why so much damage was inflicted in Tivoli, right? So down the road, same week, May 27, right, an extraordinary operation was launched, right, to go to the home of Keith Clark, right. He was living in Kirkland Heights, right, West Rural St. Andrew, uptown, right. Of course, quiet neighborhood. Most people in that neighborhood, you could say, are well-to-do people. It's definitely no Remar jungle, right. So quiet neighborhood, but an extraordinary operation was launched. You could even argue that it's probably the most extreme operation that has ever been launched against a single home in Jamaican history. I can't think of any case where a single home, a residential home, was hit with so much force. People, there were helicopters flying over, right? An entire company went up there. That's about 100 men, right? 100 soldiers went to Keith Clark house that night, just to show you how serious it was. The neighbors who lived in the community, right? One of them, interestingly, was prominent journalist Mark Wignall, right? I think he tells his story of the things he heard and saw that night as well, right? But again, people, 100 JDF soldiers go for one house. Why did they go there? Now, the official story is that they received intelligence that Dodos and some of them soldier them were staying at Clark's residence, right? This is the official story, right? Hence the reason why so many men went there, because they were going to face not just Dodos but him soldier them were in the house, right? That is the official story. People, understand this. When the foolishness started, right? First of all, it went on for at least an hour, right? There are varying reports, some people say an hour, some people say 2, but it was at least an hour. See, Keith Clark's house was heavily secured. Like most Jamaican house, you had all kind of grill and steel pandan. The JDF soldiers them cut through the steel, right? Kick down the door, right? Cut through the grill and enter the house. People, in the process of them hitting Keith Clark's house, something happened. Something happened that further confirmed to the JDF soldiers on the ground that they were indeed going up against some kind of resisting force. See, Keith Clark had a licensed machine. Keith Clark was in his house at them hours in the night, early morning, as you can imagine, and all of a sudden him hear him grill a tear off. So, living in his house, with his wife and him pitting them, obviously, any man in that situation, especially one who has a licensed machine, is now thinking he's being invaded by thief. He's thinking people are trying to break in his house. Keith Clark, hearing the whole commotion outside, let off at least one round. That one round confirmed to some members on the ground of the JDF that they are indeed going up against some kind of force that is resisting. But there was no force. It was Keith Clark trying to defend his family from who he thought were thieves, trying to break in his house. Right? And again, people, the information I'm going to tell you, I don't know if you can see some of these things on news or in a gleaner. I'm telling you about people who I spoke to who may or may not have been on the scene. Right? Again, here is where things get tricky. Here is where things get real shady. See, in my opinion, there were multiple missions that night. The 100 man them were turn up. Not all of them had the same mission. See, because after the initial thinking that, oh, well, them here want run fire back off of them, so that must mean to us and him soldier them in there. After it became evident that that was not the case, and they got access to the house, right? After them went into the house, people, this is where it's clear to me now that there were different missions, as in different teams, different sections had a different mission. Because when them get inside of the house, right, and it was now clear and evident that there was no group of men in the house, right, I challenged them. They then proceeded to do something that was extraordinary. They then proceeded to do something that can only be described as a straight up criminal act. See, after them getting to the house, the first person or the first people them buck up on was actually Keith Clark and his daughter, right? Now you know, two females, naturally, they might go ball and make it clear, say, listen, what are you doing here? I don't understand, this is confusing. I was being daddy, one bag of knives, naturally, because at the early morning, they are afraid their home has just been invaded. The soldiers then proceeded to walk past the wife and the daughter, and they made a beeline directly to Keith Clark. They then proceeded to wet up the man at least 22 times. The autopsy found 22 rounds, alright, in the man. 22. The majority of them hit him in his lower back. He had his back to them, right? People, the team that went in to the house had a separate mission from the majority of the police military personnel who went to the house. People, that team that went into that house had a specific mission, which was to make sure Sir Keith Clark would get a first class ticket to the afterlife. He simply could not have survived. He was not supposed to survive. Keith Clark was taken out by a high level legal government hit. When people talk about contract hit, and we talk about 87s and 90 octanes and man from Klansman and all, this was the government equivalent of that. People, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to tell you my theory and my opinion as to what happened. Of course, this case is so serious I didn't even bring out Simple Simon. Right? What I'm about to tell you, as I said, are things that I've come to the conclusion from reasoning with people who may or may not have had a direct role in what happened in this case, people who are investigating the case, etc. People, Keith Clark was an accountant. Now, when he was taken out, there were rumors circulating that he was Dodo's accountant. I cannot confirm or deny that. His family has denied that, and of course, they're going to. His friends have denied it as well. But what you have to understand is this. In any organization, whether it is a major corporate company or it is some Mexican cartel. One of the most important individuals in the company is the accountant. The accountant knows, arguably, just as well, the accountant knows more than any little foot soldier. The accountant knows more than all of the man them who so-called. The accountant is normally the one who knows the paper trail and can lead back things and can, if you want information, forget about locking up no little 87 or locking up no little low-level staff member. You want to get to the accountant. That's the person with the information, right? Keith Clark was an accountant. Now, as I said, I cannot confirm or deny if he was Dodos the accountant, but this is what I think, people. This is my theory. And again, let me put this out there. This is my theory. I think Keith Clark was taken out because he knew too much. This incident was a hit. Okay? The argument that, they went there to look for men and because they couldn't find the men in the process, he may up get wet up and all that. No. People, the man was hit 22 times, majority 9 back. Right? That team that went inside the house, that was their mission, to make sure that Keith Clark never survive. Right? Now, understand this, people. I mentioned earlier that Keith Clark was a die-hearted PNP supporter. Now remember, this incident happened while the JLP was in power. So now ask yourself this question. Why would Peter Bunting, a PNP politician, have the opportunity to score political points, right, and milk the fact that the JLP ruling government at the time had a prominent accountant, a member, a die-hearted member of the PNP, whose brother is a politician, basically executed in a yard? Why would Peter Bunting go above and beyond, right, to take such extraordinary means? Even the DPP was stunned that Peter Bunting was trying to exercise these kind of exercise such authority to get the case dismissed. Why? Listen me again, the people. JLP in a power. The operation happened under JLP control. A prominent, die-hearted, big-time PNP gets taken out, and then a PNP politician goes above and beyond to get the JDF members who took out that individual, took out their comrade, right, immunity. Understand this, people. The majority of the big contract them, the majority of Dodos' reign happened under the PNP. I want you to stick with me now, right? Before the simpletons them start blow up the comment section, I'm saying that again, this is my opinion, this is my theory, you can have your own. This is what I've come to the conclusion from speaking to various people, knowing whom we know. People, let me say it again, the majority of the contracts and the money spending and all that, the majority of the reign of presidential clique and Dodos happened while PNP were in power. If you were to do a paper trail about the majority of the contracts that were going to Dodos, or the majority of the contracts that were coming from government to presidential clique, the majority of them would have been signed off, would have had the names of somebody from the PNP. So even though it happened under the JLP government, and they were the ones who ultimately would have given some kind of authority to carry out some kind of move like this, right? I want you to understand, this is not a case of good versus bad. I want you to understand, this is a bipartisan decision. Both parties benefited from Keith Clark not surviving this incident. Both the PNP and the JLP had an interest in Keith Clark getting taken out that night. The whole story that them did get intelligence, say Dodos and him soldier them in the house, that was nothing more than a giant distraction. A matter of fact, you could go as far as to say the entire operation itself was a giant distraction, so that those members who went into the house that day those individuals, the man them who you see now, I go up on trial. The rest of the big helicopter flying around and all the whole shooting from motor, that was a giant distraction. So those men could do their job and get rid of Keith Clark so that what he knows can never become public. This was a 116 hit. If you think Peter Bunting went above and beyond and now, as we see, break the law to give immunity to some JDF soldiers who took out one of his comrade, right? Took out somebody who supported his party, then I have some unicorns to sell you, right? Because knowing how politics work, this would have been the ultimate chance for them to roast the JLP like a breadfruit. Look what them do. Them take out Keith Clark, a die-hearted comrade, a man who has dedicated his life to this and that, and they would have milked it to the heavens. The people who did this should be brought to justice, and they need to. Do you realize they were conspicuously silent? It wasn't the big rush to get no justice for Keith Clark. How? People, both parties, benefited from Keith Clark losing his life that night. Now, again, let me make it clear, I cannot confirm or deny if he was Dodos' accountant, right? As in his individual accountant. But Keith Clark knew something. Keith Clark had information that could be detrimental to not just the JLP, but the PNP. Keith Clark, in my opinion, could link them, right? Or had some information that could link them to this whole scandal. And that is why he had to be taken out under the psyches of how he was hiding Dodos. That is all a sham. That was the smoke screen, the smoke and the mirrors to distract the people from the real objective of the mission. This was a 116 hit, a high level hit, right? People, this thing deeper than you see on the surface. I mean, the trial is about to start, or the trial is going to start, and I hope those JDF members start leak like an ice truck and start call some name. Because I'm telling you something, people. The JDF is not set up where 3 rogue soldiers can just walk in our room and start doing what them feel like. That is not how it works. The operation was being controlled by a major. Where is that major? Why is he not being brought to the forefront? Why we don't know who that major was? Why we don't know who the captain them were? Why we don't know who gave the orders? Why is all the blame being laid on the shoulders of those 3 individuals? Yes, I them were the man, but we know how the military works. No 3 soldier can just divert from the operation and go do what them feel like. Right? Why are they being the scapegoats? Yes, they need to be brought to justice, but the man them who give them the orders need to be brought to justice too. Because they were the ones who benefited from Keith Clark being taken out. These JDF soldiers didn't do nothing, didn't benefit from this. Right now, them life turned upside down. And let me make it clear to people. In the military, a soldier can disobey an unlawful command. In the military, a soldier can disobey an unlawful command. No general, it could be a 5-star general, can't tell us, hey, how long the woman and tear off her clothes. You do not have to obey a command like that. So even if these soldiers were ordered to do it, they could have disobeyed in theory. But in practice, it is extremely unlikely that no corporal and a lance corporal and a private I go tell no man say, me not do that if they were told to go and they go do this. It's very, it will take an extraordinary amount of courage, right, to turn around and say, no, me not do it. Let's see how this case carry on. Let's see what come out of this case. People, whole heap of blood upon a whole heap of people, and Keith Clark meant a lot to people in very high places, and him being taken out benefited a whole heap of people who sit on TV now a smile in a pretty suit and I go on like them nice. This case now done so. Patreon squad, big up on yourself. Please like, comment and share the video. Bless.